this is Shira, and this is the Scorpio new moon outlook for November 4th, 2021. So, to get started, we have the new moon in Scorpio at 12 degrees. And we have it exactly opposing Uranus at retrograde Taurus. Now, what does Scorpio represent? Scorpio is intense. Scorpio is powerful. And sometimes Scorpios can instill a little fear. They are passionate and very strong in their actions and opinions, known to be very focused. What is Taurus? Well, very similar, because Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs, which means they don't easily change their opinions or motivations very easily. So, what is Taurus? Taurus is very stubborn. And we could say that also about Scorpio. Scorpio likes to be right. And Taurus is the immovable object. Taurus is very focused and, like Scorpio, very determined once they make their mind up about something. Some would say Taurus represents the bully. They would rather be the one to control than to be controlled. And some would also say that about Scorpio. So what have we here with an opposition between the new moon in Scorpio and the very fixed and stubborn Uranus and retrograde in Taurus, but some very stubborn attitudes and outlooks. Now, to add to this mixture on this Scorpio new moon, we have Saturn in Aquarius. Now, the new moon is just past the square to Saturn. However, nonetheless, there is a wide T-square between Saturn in Aquarius, the new moon in Scorpio, and Uranus in Taurus. However, there is also an applying square between the moon in Scorpio and Jupiter in Aquarius the following day of the 5th. What does this mean? So, Aquarius, like Taurus, like Scorpio, is what? It is a fixed sign. However, of the fixed signs of Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, Aquarius is probably the more open-minded, more easily to negotiate, to have or take on a more friendlier, approachable outlook. So, with an opposition and an exact opposition, and with a retrograde Uranus in Taurus, with the wide square with Saturn, and Saturn represents responsibility. It represents karma, structure. On and around the 4th of November of the new moon, and up until the full moon in Taurus, and in this case, this month is also a lunar eclipse, by the way. Between the new moon and full moon, we are going to have a sense of responsibility and a desire to get ahead and compete. And Scorpio can be very secretive. So we have to be careful of sometimes, to be honest, some hidden enemies or secrets now that will come about that may or may not make us feel so comfortable. And I say this because of the opposition and T-square that will be in our personal life and publicly. We may find out some very interesting secrets about those in the public eye, or somehow some information publicly comes out now that may involve love, Venus, and or power, greed, control, and possibly issues relating to passion because of this new moon in Scorpio. So this is going to be a little bit of a difficult new moon, which generally is much more energetic and much more positive. However, you add the very focused, very stubborn, structured Saturn in Aquarius. So there may be, once secrets are released and put out there, there may be some discussions that could become rather heated regarding opinions, justice, friendliness, right, wrong, fairness, etc. Because we're talking Aquarius, and Aquarius, similar to Libras, like fairness, and they are an air sign, so Aquarius can detach from the emotionalism of the day. And so that will be key here. So no matter what conflicts may ensue in our personal life or what we see public, it is very important to remain detached because of the opposition, especially between Taurus and the full moon, and exasperated a bit because Uranus is retrograde. Now, Uranus rules the unexpected, so we will also have to be very leery of unexpected conflicts or the unexpected itself, surprising incidences. Now that may also come forward with reference to what? What does Taurus rule? But it rules our Earth. And Scorpio is a very strong water sign. Now, to add to this, the depositor of the moon and the sun, because it is in Scorpio, is Pluto in Capricorn. And of course, Pluto, like the sign of Scorpio, is about power. But in this case, Pluto is in an earth sign of Capricorn. So there could be some surprising incidences connected with our Earth. Now, that does not necessarily mean that there's going to be earthquakes or natural disasters. However, between the 4th of November and the 19th of November, especially with a building lunar eclipse in the fixed sign of Taurus on around the 19th, between these days, we will have to be very watchful of such possible, and I do want to say possible yet probable, natural disasters. But in the sense of human nature, we will have to be very leery of conflicts, especially power conflicts regarding structure, opinions. There may be, even around this date, because Aquarius rules friendships, friendliness of all types, rules technology. We may find a little bit of some ups and downs with some friendships. Also, there could be technological issues, however that may be. And again, that theme was social media because we are talking Saturn in Aquarius. But if we can remain focused and Aquarius detached, we will benefit greatly. So, with a new moon, however, we will have a sense of positivity and that no matter what, things are going to be just fine. And with that type of outlook, everything very well could be. But nonetheless, we will have to watch out for tensions on this very fixed sign new moon. Watch out for social media, technological breakdowns, possible natural disasters between the 4th and the 19th. And if we can sidestep any power trips and conflicts, we should be okay. Now, the following day, on the 5th, with Jupiter in Aquarius, now direct, and we have the moon in Scorpio, the moon will be applying on the 5th a square to Jupiter. Now, most times, anytime there is a square, opposition, general negative aspects connected with Jupiter, most times, not always, but most cases, that indicates that we will have to watch our spending. You know, because Jupiter rules prosperity, it rules expansion. And Jupiter is generally a very positive, kind of a happy planet, okay? So even with the square with the moon the following day, we will have to kind of simmer down a little bit of gregariousness and the tendency to spend too much or somewhat see the whole picture of goals or plans, but not really looking at what we can do to ground ourselves, because we're talking a square here. We will have a tendency to kind of think somewhat grandiose. But we have Mercury, which as of yet is still in the latter degrees of Libra and direct. However, this will make a very wide trine to Mercury and Jupiter in Aquarius. So for the last 2 days up until the 6th, you can guarantee that there is going to be positive communication regarding group efforts, because the Mercury in Libra and Jupiter in Aquarius are very sociable and they are very group oriented. So on or around anywhere between roughly just after the 4th of November to about the 6th, we will want to have some important discussions regarding, again, social media or groups, friendships, or getting together and making plans those 2 days before Mercury goes into Scorpio will be very group oriented, whether it be on the internet, whether it be in person. Great time to make plans with friends and associates. However, Mercury is in an out of sign conjunction with Mars, and Mars is what? About aggression, assertive behavior, and in an out of sign square with Mercury, we will have to, as of yet, be cautious about our speech because we're talking out of sign almost into Scorpio to Mars in Scorpio. So if we can be cautious of how we relate to each other, we don't speak without thinking. However, Libra is known for negotiation, and most Libras don't generally speak hastily. However, nonetheless, in this case, there is a conjunction with Mars, and Scorpio can be rather sarcastic. So we must tone down our speech on and around the new moon of November 4th. Okay, so let's look at some positive aspects here. We have Neptune at 20 degrees Pisces retrograde. Now, Neptune on December 1st will turn station direct. However, right now, we still have, as of the new moon, Neptune retrograde, and the moon and the sun will apply a trine this month. So that's very sweet. There will be a heightened interest this month, especially anytime we have the water elements connected, whether it be a trine, a grand trine. There's always going to be heightened interest in the paranormal, supernatural, some of the occult, and also what? Healing. Because Neptune, somewhat like Scorpio, is a healer. So, just after the new moon, there may be discussions about health and therapy, new cures, and positive discussions regarding health, well-being, and healing, and something of a cure possibly, or some element regarding health and well-being, whether it be esoteric, whether it be standard medical, will be notable in our personal lives and possibly publicly. And it's a very good time, and this will be highlighted regarding not just healing, but spiritual issues. This will be much in the way of the topic of the day of discussion, spirituality, healing, and it's generally a very good, feel-good connection between Scorpio and Pisces. So we still have, yes, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, and although Uranus does not make a major aspect to Pluto, we still have that Earth theme. However, we have Uranus retrograde, and as aforementioned earlier in the video, we must expect the unexpected this month. And we have Venus at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, anytime a planet is at 29 degrees critical or 0 critical, after this it will go to 0 critical Venus in Capricorn, and here it is, Venus at 29 degrees critical Sagittarius. We will always have to be somewhat cautious because events have a tendency between the 29th degree and the 0 degree critical have a tendency to be rather highlighted. Sometimes positive, sometimes not so positive. So it'll be interesting to see on the 4th and the 5th, between the 29th degree and the 0 degrees, what events will transpire. Now, the depositor, of course, of Venus in Sagittarius is Jupiter in Aquarius. So there is going to be on the 5th a square with the moon. And remember, we will have to watch our spending, but of course at that point in time, Venus will be at 0 degrees Pluto, Saturn in Aquarius. However, Pluto is in Capricorn. So later on the month, Venus will then apply a conjunction to Pluto, but that's much later on in November. At any rate, the 4th and the 5th will be rather important because of these critical degrees of 29 degrees Sagittarius and 0 degrees of Capricorn. Because we're talking about Venus, there may be something connected with our affections or love that's rather important or notable in our lives. And again, also publicly. Information may come about now, but it could also be rather positive because Venus on the 4th is still, as of yet, going to be in Sagittarius. On the 5th, it will move to the more serious-minded Capricorn. Now we have, let's see here, we have Venus in Sagittarius, and that's going to be, as aforementioned, moving to 0 degrees Capricorn, and Venus will then make a beautiful sextile with Mars. So that's very grounding. We have an out of sign, what is called an out of sign, in this case sextile with Mars in Scorpio. And again, Mars rules action, and Venus rules love, warmth, expression of our feelings, and creativity. So on and around the new moon of Scorpio, we are going to feel rather creative. We may find creative ways of expressing our love and desire and affection to those nearest and dearest. And also, it's a very practical, very down-to-earth, positive earth-water connection. So, if we can keep conflict at bay this month, to surmise, with the retrograde Uranus in Taurus, making an exact opposition and T-square with Saturn. If we can keep arguments, conflicts at bay, and fixed attitudes, watch our spending and conflicts with groups, but we negotiate with the with the trine to Jupiter and Mercury, and develop more detached attitudes with all this fixed behavior, and apply sensitivity, Scorpio and Pisces, and healing, and develop possibly more spiritual or esoteric outlooks. Then the new moon in Scorpio, yes, it will be an intense new moon, but at the same time, this new moon will be rather healing. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my contact information is down below. I give one-on-one readings and written reports. Please subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification. Until next time, many, many blessings.